everybody. This is the Cryptolorian with the WELL community, and welcome to another episode of Project Showcase. Today, we are here with El Dumbo from the Pieland project. Very, very excited. This is kind of a last-minute get-together. Amazing that you decided to join us. Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, I feel like it was last minute, but I was always keen to do it because I've been in the whale community to some degree, more as a lark than anything else. But for it must be, I can't remember. Rude Moose got me into it at least 10 months ago, I feel. So yeah, I've been a fan of the whale community for a while, so super excited to be here talking about my project now. That feels like full circle to a degree, you know.
Oh yeah, it does. It does. And tell us a little bit about yourself, because you're no stranger to the NFT community or anything or projects. You've been around a while. I know we ran into each other a few times over in the Top Shop world a while back. But yeah, tell us a bit more about you.
Yeah, oh man, it feels like a different lifetime almost now, doesn't it? It was what, like a year ago, and it's like, oh man, back when we were kids. Yeah, no. So I'm a community manager over at Dapper Labs. I've worked with them for about 10 months. So if you're, in the Top Shot Discord, we might have crossed paths to some degree. And then I've also helped out in other projects there, and things like Flowverse and the Flowvertar. They're not Dapper Labs, but I've still work with them just and doing some community stuff and being about. So I'm pretty active in Discord in general, so that's why I tend to just call myself El Dumbo rather than Luke, because that's what I feel like the NFT world knows me as by now. And it's funny because every so often I'll go to a Telegram instead, and I'll be like, whoa, this is like a new world. I'll come back to Discord, that's where I hang out. So yeah, doing all of my work I do in these projects is always just sort of the community side of things. So that's kind of where my experience comes from.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, it's been quite a while. It does seem like forever and a day ago, but yeah, I'm really glad to reconnect with you and actually look at this. So Rude Moose, shout out to her. She had mentioned this project last Sunday, and I'd heard the chatter about it in about a week and a half before. And so then I started really digging in, and I absolutely love it. It looks really cool. I'm going to pop it on the screen. Tell us a bit about the project and yeah, what you're doing. It's awesome.
Yeah, so the idea of Pieland, like my favorite way of describing it is like it's silly but serious. It's seriously silly. That sort of vibe we're going for. And as you can see on the screen, it's all about pies. In particular, the drop we're doing tomorrow, it's the Octopies. So it's half pie, half octopus. I think if you scroll down a little on the screen, you'll see, because you got one like chilling in a chair there. It's not so obvious, but there's like one a little bit lower down, I think, which is like, yeah, like that one. That's kind of what they are, these cool octopi NFTs. And we're trying to do a range of quite sort of unique to a certain degree things. So one of the things we're doing is that within the world of Pieland, every octopi will belong to a certain slice. So think of them as like tribes or factions, and there'll be 9 of them. And then within each slice, the traits are quite different. So what you see on the screen right there is a Pisces. So they have like sort of like gills. They look a bit more fish-like. Then we also have like zombies. I think if you scroll right down to the bottom of the page, you'll be able to see that. And they're more like a zombie, the one on the right. And you see the traits between them are quite different. So each slice, there'll be some crossover of traits, but like each slice will have quite a unique look and feel to it, which means that the world of Pieland does feel quite vibrant, lively. And every octopi NFT is going to kind of have their own personality because of how unique these trait combinations end up being. Because it's, rather than just having 10,000 that all share from the exact same pool, it's 9 different slices that have sub traits within them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense. And I think that's what excited me the most, that there were so many different combinations and like these factions going on, that it really it really got my blood flowing on this one.
Yeah, and so it's fun because we were in a position where we had to be like taking away traits because it was a little bit too much. But it's fun because it's split in this like by 9 traits. Even if you have like if you decided I want to get 20 zombies, and that's you went out and got, they might feel kind of similar, but they're going to feel completely different to 20 doughbots. And so that's why it's really fun, because it does add this really vibrant diversity and sort of range of like not tiers but sort of uniqueness, let's say, which is exciting. And then adding on top of that, obviously we've got the standard 1-of-1s, which you can sort of see on the screen now. So these are like the staff ones, so they're quite different. But we also have about over 80 one-of-ones that are also quite unique and cool. Again, all sort of based around the world of octopus and pies, which is a lot of fun because there's so many puns you can do with it, you know? So we have, we have pirates, we have GoBots, we have pie borgs. Like, it's the meetings we've been in for the last few weeks, mate. Or the last few months are just insane. We're like having serious conversations that are all just puns about pies. So that's a lot of fun.
Oh man, yeah, that is one of the things that I quickly noticed is the activity on the Discord was just off the charts, and everyone was doing some fun stuff, and the puns were just out of control. And what's your favorite pun so far?
Ah, that's a tough one. I think my favorite is when people ask us like, "Oh, is it a typo?" Like then it's not obvious enough, and people like try and let us know it's a typo. We're like, "No, that's the pun." One of our writers, so this you can see her name on the screen. So YY, she's like spent years working in the industry. She worked at like Forbes, and Facebook, and Zinger, and she started doing some puns like as part of our communication, our content. And hers was lattice, like like a lattice cross on a pie. And she's like, "Oh, let us explain." She was like, "Oh, lattice explain." And I was like, that's so good because it's so like it's such a stretch. And I was like, that's perfect. So I think that's been my favorite one so far. The more like niche puns that are like, does this even make sense? And then when you get it, it's just funny, you know?
Man, it's cool. It's almost like this whole thing with the puns and everything. And did you expect this kind of community to kind of take off when you started this? I mean, how did it start? Let's start there.
So yeah, like so, we've been planning this for a while. It's me, a guy called Kellican, some of you will know in the whale community, and Bonfire, who's the creator of Live Token, which you might know from the Top Shot world. Um, we have been chatting about this. First started about 8 months ago, and you guys know how it is in the first few weeks or first even month. It was more about like the philosophy, the ideas, what we want to achieve out of it, and then the idea, and then that all sort of gave us this summary of like we want to be different, we want to stand out by being a little bit more unique, and we also want to be like fun. We want to deliver value in a fun way that like it's just cool to be part of, and like you have a laugh, but also it ends up being quite high quality and good content, let's say. So that's kind of why the art itself, we have gone for like a relatively high quality look on it, I would say. And then also it's why we were like, it needs to be something crazy different. So we had, we literally had a list of food items and a list of animal items, and we are like, let's just combine them until one works. And our artist Ryan turned around one day, showed us a kind of like a sketch of what an octopi might look like, and the whole room we just went quiet. We were like, that's it, that's what it is. And then the rest is history. And then in terms of the community like you were talking about, so this is on the screen. That's one of the pirates, which is one of probably my favorite slices of pirate. I think they're just amazing. So the community, well, we've really focused on just like organic growth. Start off just making sure like, hey, when you join a community, this is kind of what we're doing. We gave out like a lot of whitelist people that joined early, and obviously you guys are familiar with the whitelist role. It's a pretty standardly done thing in this sort of space. But then what we did is once we already distributed out a large majority of them, we actually announced like as a thank you, we were doing what was called a pre-order window. So this happened last weekend, and basically what it was is you could sort of order your octopies in advance. So you wouldn't have to, go and mint. You wouldn't have to queue up and deal with gas. You would literally just fill in a form and send it Ethereum into an address. And we gave like step-by-step guides for how to do it. But here's what's like where it was a bit more different than anyone else that's doing this, in my opinion, is we also agreed to pay the gas. So we would pay the gas to mint and airdrop these Octopi NFTs if you pre-ordered, but you can only pre-order if you're on the whitelist. So it was a way for us to kind of give back to those people that had joined the server early. And I think that's why now we have this quite like really active percentage wise, it's about over 6,000-ish people in our Discord, and like the community is just popping all the time, even though it's not like tens of hundreds of thousands of people. It kind of almost feels like it is because they're super active and engaged. And I think that's because of the way we've done that setup, and it also means that we've not even minted yet, but we've already got 700 plus people that are lined up to order their octopies. They're going to be getting them sort of tomorrow morning before the mint, and that's pretty exciting as well. And to me and the team, it was a fun way to get people onboarded into Ethereum-based NFTs. We would say, so we did this. We did like some investigating, and about 25% of the people that took part in our whitelist-only pre-order don't own any of the Ethereum NFTs, right? So
Wow.
that's kind of like that's a lot. That's over 275 something like that people are basically, this is their first NFT project, and we've only sold to 700 people, so that's a decent chunk, and that's something we're really excited about because that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to make the barrier to entry quite low, and so we're just really excited to see those sort of numbers already, and we're hoping to continue that over the next few weeks, where like, you know, the project's going to grow and we're going to continue to build, but we're also going to make it so that anyone can kind of learn about it and not have to worry or stress about trying to get into a project where it's all a little bit wild and confusing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that is crazy. You know, a couple of years ago, you could probably say that, you know, majority of people would be into, you know, Ethereum, and then, you know, some other blockchain just starting up would, you know, you say vice versa. But the fact that you know, the percentages for people just getting their first Ethereum NFT, that's crazy to me. That's that's absolutely
Yeah.
crazy.
I say I want to do like a deeper dive. We want to kind of figure out, like, is this their first NFT? Do they own other NFTs? Like, I assume they probably come from, like, maybe they own like Top Shot NFTs or something like that. So, you know, I assume that, but I'm not actually sure. So it's really exciting for us to see that, though, because it's that, you know, why that excites me personally is that I think I still remember the first NFT I got, like, back in 14 months ago when I got like a hash mask. You know, I'm sure you probably do as well. Like, maybe not. I feel like you've had a lot more NFTs than me. It might be hard to remember, but like, people have those connections to some of those projects they get into early. You know what I mean? And I think like that connection never goes away. And so I feel like we can already say a couple hundred people are going to be like with Pieland for the long term already because it's their first NFT. I think that's really special and exciting.
Yeah, that's absolutely special and exciting. I'm just going to post here. We had a.
Yes,
I love it.
that's the vibe I want to see. More of that.
Yeah, that's what we love. Yeah, I love that, and like you said, I love that, you know, you're getting people involved. You're bringing them to Ethereum. You're you know, you're trying different thing, and yeah, you'll create that connection. And I think that I really felt that when I just joined into the community, and I felt that love of what was happening, and honestly, listening to Rude Moose speak about it, you know, it gave me that sense that we definitely had to have you on, and I'm glad that you chose to jump on. And I know everything's really busy over there right before the mint.
Yeah. You know, it's just the final cross the T's, dot the I's. Like, I think we're feeling good for tomorrow, but there's always you can never double check enough. You can never triple check enough, you know. And so our developer Bonfire, he's been like heads down, just going over everything, rechecking the contract, redoing this, redoing that, just to be 100%, you know. Um, but super excited for big shout out to Rumus as well. She is definitely she entered one of our meme competitions, and it was like my favorite one by far. It was so good, and I was like, damn, she's coming in out of nowhere with that. It almost felt unfair. But yeah, a lot going on. We have at the moment, we're doing like a custom giveaway. So if you're on our Discord, we're doing a giveaway where if you win it, we'll sit you down with our designer and design like a one of one octopi, like a custom one, where it's going to be a way for you to represent yourself that really makes it so you could put it as your profile picture and it feels like your octopi, you know. So that's sort of things we'll be doing more of over the next few months as well, for sure.
Man, I love that, and you know, I love that you chose to go the route where you pay gas. That's really cool. You know, it rewards early folks. You know, and then you got the whitelist tomorrow, and then you have the public sale. So I think you're doing it absolutely right. It's really cool to hear that you're willing to do that one of one. I think that's what also keeps everyone engaged. It feels like you're definitely growing this community that everyone is really loving. So keep up the good work.
Cheers, for sure. For sure. Yeah, we can. You know, one of the things was really important to us is to like maintain that energy throughout. You know, so like for example, you can see on Twitter, you got to like being carbon negative is something really important to us as well. And it's one of those things where it's like we want to go above and beyond because it's important to us, and by making it clear to people that that's important to us, we then bring in people where it's also important to them, you know. So a lot of people in our community are like, wow, I'm a really big fan of this because I also want to do more for the, you know, the planet, the climate, whatever it is. And so then we kind of build the community that way by saying, hey, this is what we're presenting, if this works for you, come check it out. And then we have that same vibe, same energy, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And that you're seeing a lot more of, and I love it. I think it's really cool. You know, it's really thoughtful, and you know, it again, it shows that, and this is why we really wanted to have you on before the drop, because we wanted to show the community, hey, this is a good project, thoughtful project, and we really like it.
Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, and you know, we're definitely in a way kind of blessed because like we're myself and Bonfire kind of like you say we get around in the NFT spaces to certain degrees, so it means we can do things which are maybe other projects can't do. Like the pre-order window. I don't know if many projects can say, hey, send us Ethereum, wait a few days and get your NFTs. But because people trust in us already, we could do that. You know, and so it allows us to explore this option of paying for people's gas because we know we can, and so that's really exciting. Another thing which we can talk about more of is we've made it so our smart contract is mutable rather than immutable. Um, and I feel like, hey, you know the NFT space. I don't know if you've seen us talk about that yet, but I feel like that might have triggered some red flags for you.
No, I'd like to hear more about that.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's because I have some trust for you and the team.
yeah, okay, that's what I was hoping you might say. So here's the thing: is that this is me about 5-6 months ago. So Bonfire was doing the early version of the smart contract, and he comes to me and he says, "Hey, I got this idea," and he says we should do a mutable smart contract. And I was like, "No, we shouldn't. They've got to be immutable. That's like the core tenet of smart contracts and NFTs, right?" And they were like, "No, we're going to do it mutable, but what we're going to do." And like we basically like talked it out, and so we're going to do it so that our smart contract can be muted, it can be mutated, it can be changed, but only through community voting, right? So the idea is we could potentially change our contract, change the very code that these NFTs are written on or minted on to once, you know, if the community agree to do it and vote on it. And so you might be like, but why? Why do you want to do that? Well, obviously, one of the benefits of that is we can then have like a future-proof smart contract. So if we drop tomorrow and then a week later, someone finds an exploit or a glitch or something's not right in our smart contract, we can go and change it, you know, and then we can let the community know, they can vote on it and we can approve it and change it. Now that's not very likely, that's very like edge case, but we see time and time again some amazing projects that unfortunately end up having a mistake in their smart contract and they have to, you know, they have to ask you to migrate to another smart contract, and that's kind of no bueno, you know. But what's even more exciting, and this is what I get excited about, is in the future we'll be able to upgrade our smart contract alongside the Ethereum blockchain. You know, we all know Ethereum 2.0 is coming at one point in the future. If it comes out in a way which says, okay, now smart contracts can be bigger, they can have more space, whatever it is, we can actually adjust our smart contract alongside it, right? So we can kind of level up our smart contract as the Ethereum blockchain itself levels up. So, you know, and then in my opinion, and like my final point on this is that it's maybe the most decentralized way to do a smart contract. And look, I think 6 months ago, we wouldn't be able to really say that because the DAO concept, community voting concept, that was still fairly new. But now that's like quite commonplace. And you can see a world where in the future, it might be standard to say that the community DAO get to vote on the smart contract because it's mutable. And like, I honestly think that is going to be maybe not this year, it might be next year, but I think in the future that will be way more common in the NFT space is that people say the DAO will be able to vote, you know, like owning one of our NFTs lets you vote on the very contract that that NFT is written to. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense to me. I'm gonna take a query from our community real quick. Yeah, it makes total sense to me. No, I think it's really cool. You know, things are changing. You don't want to be stuck in the past or have to. So I get it. I totally get it. I'm going to put a question from the community here, and let's see. It's given the unique approach where the ETH is paid ahead of the drop, what communication was necessary to avoid concerns that the project could be a rug? And I think that kind of goes along with what we were saying. And again, I trust you because I know you from other places. But yeah, for those who don't know, I mean, this is the kind of stuff like, you know, who's going to audit the contract, who's going to do that. So tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll move on to a little bit other funner stuff.
No, I think this is the most fun in a way. Yeah, so we that was super important to us, and that's why we only did it for like a 3-4 day. Well, not only we did it for a 3-4 day window, so we didn't say the pre-order lasts for 4 hours and that's it. We said it's open on Friday. You have until Monday. Take the weekend, read our articles, check it out, like ask us questions. We set up a whole support system in our community, in our Discord. You know, we got a couple hundred tickets, and we would literally like walk people through. Hey, like, and there was some people. I was like, hey, like, if you just want to get what, like, we did it. You could minimum order 3, maximum order 5. And I said, hey, if you're not certain, you can come back on the mint day. Just get one. We won't pay for your gas, but you know, you'll only be getting one. So maybe that's easier for you. You know, we didn't put any like there was no like upsale. There's no sales pressure. It was just here's what we're offering. you're already whitelisted, which means you've done something in our community to get that whitelist. I'll get back to that in a second. And then, you kind of already know us, right? So the whitelists themselves were heavily weighted to people that joined us early, which meant that people that saw that me and Bonfire and the team were doing a project, and before even knowing much information, jumped into the Discord. So there were people that were already familiar with us and kind of we already have that trust and relationship with, right? They're people that might have used the website live token that Bonfire is like the sole developer of, and so they know that he can build these tools. They know that he's continued to upgrade and improve those tools over time, right? So it becomes like they have that relationship, or they might know me and they might see that I'm dedicated to answering questions like 24/7 in whatever community I'm in. So like, I think that for that reason, we felt comfortable that people taking part in the pre-order already have a high level of trust in us. But in terms of auditing a smart contract, obviously we made sure we showed the smart contract. So what we actually did was we said, hey, this is our smart contract. You can check it out. I think it was on the Rinkeby network early, just so people could see it, which is kind of like the test network. And then now it's on mainnet, obviously, but we made sure we put that in advance for people to see. And then also we just made sure we were on hand for like every and all question. We also did things like we set out the guidelines for like in the pre-order form. There was like 4 pages, and it was like, are you 100% certain? Do you want to go ahead? And here's what's really cool. The very last question was, are you 100% comfortable with this entire process? Because internally, we're like, if anybody says no, we will message them and see if they want a refund. Like, no matter what, that was on our minds. Like, we will do that for them. If they said they're not 100% comfortable, we will make sure we offer that to them. Because at that point, it's not a difficult thing to refund, right? You just send the Ethereum back. Like, it costs like $10 to send the Ethereum back. Like, no issue. We had, over 700 responses. About 15% or 16% said not sure. They weren't sure about it. Everyone else said 100%. We got like 0 no's. So obviously we followed up with those people that said not sure. We were like, hey, like, are you okay with the process? Everyone said, yeah, I just wanted to like double check, or can you help verify? And then we've moved on. So I don't know if that really helps answer the question, but basically we just went like above and beyond to like communicate directly to those people.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, it's like all of your cards are on the table. You're here talking, you got your camera on, people could take a screenshot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly.
Here you are.
It's funny because, so one of our staff, she's a bit newer to the NFT scene. She got into it about a couple of months ago, and she's like, oh, so like, Dumbo, are you doxed or not doxed? Because you call yourself out Dumbo everywhere. And I was like, yeah, because if I said Luke, people would be like, no, don't give a fake name. So that's why I keep with that. This is how people know me. And I think that's always been the way. And like one other thing, I just realized one other thing I forgot to say. So once we finished the pre-order window, like literally it finished on Monday, we went through, we audited the list as much as we could, and then we airdropped yesterday like a surprise NFT to everyone. So if you were part of the pre-order, you now have this bonus NFT, and it's just like it's like our logo as like a bit of a POAP, and you can kind of confirm your wallet with that NFT. And that's really exciting because it means those people within 24 hours of pre-order and closed already saw something from it, like a bonus airdrop. So that kind of helps give them the peace of mind of like, well, they wouldn't do all of this, send us an NFT, and then like rugby. That would just be a bit weird,
That would be strange. And that was the Pieple badge.
Yeah, exactly. It was just a little bit of fun, like as a bonus NFT. So it was just, that's our logo, and we just were like, just take it. No one was expecting it, but by sending it out to people, they could confirm their wallet. And, a lot of people were listing it at 3.14 ETH earlier, which I thought was quite funny, listing it at the Pi number. It's definitely not worth 3.14 ETH. This is just a POAP, it's just a little bonus NFT from us to the early pre-orderers, but very excited by it because it kind of represents what we want to do more of, which is like the people that trust in us. We say we're going to give you A, which is, paying your gas fees. And then we also give you A and B and maybe C and D as well,
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, if you were, okay, so I just want to say, in regular life, in the muggle world, I guess, if you want to call it, we trust everyone, right? I mean, we trust bankers, we trust Amazon, and basically anybody we trust. We order stuff all the time. And then we get into this, this different world with NFTs and blockchain and whatever. And then we don't trust anybody, which is fine. But it's just funny that we trust everybody everywhere else, right? And so, I think it's really cool what you're doing. You've shown time and time again with a track record that you can be trusted. And so that's really what you're trying to show the community is that, look, we're here, we're doing our thing. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. That's just the thing. If you don't want to do it, and but if you do it, here's what you're going to get. And so I like that. And then you gave people the opportunity to ask questions. And that really shows, it sets apart a good team from a great team. And I think that, you guys are trending that great team.
I appreciate
again, I'm really excited.
Yeah, no, I big appreciate that, mate. And we were super aware that that's not something many teams can do. You can be fully doxxed and people are still like, okay, but you're new to the scene or we don't know you. So we were very fortunate we could do that for sure.
Absolutely. So I want to get a little bit to the project itself, because it's crazy. So here's what your roadmap says. So you have the carbon negative. I mean, you got the donations. So tomorrow's the drop. Okay, and it looks like everything's going good. You have the whitelist going on, and then you have the public sale. So tell us a little bit about what's ahead, the phase 2. I mean, we kind of get the drop phase, but yeah, what's up with phase 2?
Yeah, exactly. Phase 1 is going to be those first sort of few weeks within the first month kind of thing. Phase 2 is going to be where it starts getting a little bit more interesting. As you can see, there's going to be some personalization aspects. I'll get back to the kitchen in a second. It's going to be leaderboards, in-person events, and merchandise. Now, some of those are kind of more standard in the space. Like obviously, our in-person event is going to be probably quite unique. There is going to be pie eating competitions. People are going to get pied in the face. We're gonna really show the world how you should do an in-person NFT if you're doing Pieland NFTs. But for like one of the things that I'm most excited about from phase 2 is what we've called the achievement system, because that's something that like video games just have all the time. Like every video game has an achievement system. But you don't really see it in NFTs, and a lot of NFTs are talking about like gamification and new ways to play, etc., and like the utility of ownership through gamification, but they don't have an achievement system, not like a clear one. So that's something we want to do so that you can kind of every day you can just kind of, hey, I want to do something new with my NFT. We might maybe roll out new achievements once a week, and you can just go check them out, and not necessarily to get something, not necessarily to get a reward, but more so for that feeling of achievement, right? Again, like the achievement systems used in video games. And then we also have the leaderboards, and they'll have some crossover for sure. If you're familiar with Live Token, he has leaderboards for the NBA Top Shot NFT project. But like the way it would work is that we're going to make it so it's not just like who owns the most octopies. That's one, but it's a bit basic, and it's not just going to be like who spent the most either. It's going to be more exciting and interesting. Maybe we'll do like this week's leaderboard is who owns the most octopies with a top hat. And that will just be like a fun thing we do. And maybe we'll say whoever's in the top 10 at the end of the week will send you an actual top hat. Like just stuff like that, where it's just kind of having fun, whilst at the same time building out like a serious leaderboard of like the biggest collectors for each slice. That's kind of one of the things you want to do there. And then we have the kitchen, which ties into the personalization. And so this is where it gets even more exciting, because what we want to do simple things. So obviously to start with, like being able to name your octopi, like that's kind of cool. But we also want to like take it to another level and make it so that you can take the octopi NFT, you can load it into our website through connecting your MetaMask to our wallet, and you'll have like a little app there where you can change the background. Now, not on the NFT itself, like the NFT would stay as the NFT, but maybe you can say, you know what, I want to switch to like a nighttime background for my PFP. And maybe you can only do that if you completed certain achievements to unlock this background to then use on the site. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. That's really cool. And and just going back to what you said about being mutable, doing this this next level type of stuff, does that help it out?
So it's really interesting. So this is again what chatting to Bonfire a lot. He said like with our smart contract, like take for example, I'm going to take a very successful project, so no one can think I'm trying to be negative. Let's take Bored Apes, right? When they did the mutant ape drop, like that was awesome, but what they did was they had to do like a completely separate second contract for mutant apes, right? So if you had a Bored Ape, you had to go to the site, interact with the second contract to be able to get the mutant ape. Now it's possible if we ever did something like that, we might do the same system. We might do it the same way, but we wouldn't necessarily have to. We might be able to do something just by using the same contract, which is kind of exciting because it might make the whole process a bit smoother and easier and just more natural for people that are in our community, right? And like it gets really exciting because the possibilities end up being endless. I'm just getting to the nerdy side of it a little bit. I don't know how many of your viewers have done much coding, but like every sort of NFT project, they have to include the mint details when they code their smart contract, right? So your smart contract will say, this is how many for sale, this is at what price, etc. And that has to stay there. Now, if you go and look at, like, say, Bored Apes with their immutable contract, that information is still there. It has to stay there. But unfortunately, smart contracts are limited in space. So if they want to include things like, crafting or battling, as you can see in our phase 3, and like Pi economics is where we're talking about the economics of trading and other sort of things like that aspect, like play to earn, you could imagine being in that realm. Well, like, they would have to be doing new contracts because they've run out. They didn't include it in their initial contract, and they didn't even have space even if they wanted to. What we could do, once we finish mint, we could mutate our contract and we could just take out that code that's related to minted, right? And now we have a bunch more space on our smart contract where we might include like the battling aspect or the crafting aspect. We might also have other contracts in play, other smart contracts in play. But the idea is that we would be able to integrate them in a way that you just can't do with a mutated contract unless you're planning years ahead and you somehow have like very, very, like, you just couldn't, because there's just not enough space because you have to include the minting details. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. So you've opened up this window to be more flexible, basically, and scale with the blockchain. And I feel like this is where the industry's going, in the future, because, Web3 and this development and everything's really new still. I mean, it's a little old, but it's new. It's still a little fresh. So I feel like this is a good way to go, especially if you're trying to future-proof what you're thinking about doing. So yeah, it makes total sense to me. It might not to some, because maybe they are hardcore believers, but I like that you're introducing the DAO aspect of, should we do this? Has this been vetted? And maybe so I think what you're saying is you're going to allow the community to kind of say, okay, we're going to do this with the immutable contract. What say you? And then, if the community votes on it, that's the way you're going to go. Did I hit that right?
Yes. So that's like, I mean, I actually had a really interesting conversation from someone the other day who asked us a question, which I'll get to in a sec. But that's kind of the core ideas. I imagine, at least in the first few months, the next time we do it, because it might be a few months before we even use this aspect, because we don't have to do it straight away, because it is, like you say, it's future proofing. But I imagine it'll be like, hey, this is our proposal to be able to build this feature. We're going to change the code in to be like this. We'll leave it up for a week. We'll have so and so publicly audit it. And then once that week period ends, where we take questions, whatever, we'll then vote on it. And it maybe just be as simple as like yes, no. And if we get a no, we'll say, okay, what if we change these aspects? It's going to be very situational dependent. But we'll make sure that we like explain it to the community. So we'll say, this is what we want to do. This is what the code looks like. So if you don't like what we want to do, you might just say no, and that's fine as well. But what gets really exciting, and someone asked me this question the other day, they were like, in theory, if a member of a community wanted to write something into the coding and they suggested it and it got voted in, that could be an option as well.
Okay.
Like obviously there's got like, they couldn't break our smart contract, but if they said, hey, you guys have talked about wanting to do this, I wrote the code that would allow for that. What do you think? We wouldn't be against that. Obviously, like it's not going to happen overnight. This is because I think that industry is going in this direction. This might start becoming the norm, where you can, an active participant in the community who knows how to code could improve the smart contract of that project. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a really good way to do it. And kind of going back to what we were saying before, you've taken a very thoughtful approach on how you do a lot of things. And I think that shows the community that, who the type of people you are and the type of developers you are. So I think this totally makes sense for your project, for sure. 100%.
Yeah, and it's funny, right? Because it is, we spoke about it a lot now. And I think that's because the whale community is probably a little bit different to, some of the other communities, and that like a lot of the whale community are quite experienced in the space. So it's probably why we talked about it more. But like, it is quite a niche thing. Like it's not the main point of our project. It's just another part of many, right? But then there is so much scope that goes into it. Like there's so much thought that went into it. There's so much implications that we've tried to address and consider. And so like, I think when you realize how much we do for like that one niche topic of, the contract's mutable, right? It's not just contract mutable and that's it. It's contract mutable. So this, and this, and like kind of shows in my opinion, it shows how much behind the scenes work we've put in just to prepare for what is now happening tomorrow,
Yeah, exactly. So to pivot a little bit, and then we'll get to some Q&A from the audience, I'm going to put some fun stuff on the screen here. So you could kind of give us a narration of what we have.
So this is the Python slice. It's one of my favorite. It's actually a bit more common than the other slices as well. And so they're kind of like your regular people. And got the logo pop up too soon. But yeah, so the idea is that these are kind of just like your regular octopies. They're out and about. You know, they got their t-shirts, they got their sunglasses. They're kind of, let's say, the normal octopi, if that makes sense. As you can see, some of them still look a little bit cool and weird. You'll see a lot of on the side, they have like these little companions. So that's very
Yeah.
common. Just as like, to be honest, the companions, and I've got to give credit to our artists, like they're almost good enough to be their own NFT, you know, like the little sheep you can see in these like buckets with their own fruit and stuff like that. The little pig I really like. But yeah, so we have you can see a range of different traits there for sure.
Man, that's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna throw another one on the screen here.
Ah, yes. Okay. So these are the Doughbots, which obviously are just way more badass, and you can straight away see completely different. Like they could almost be separate projects by the same artist, if you get what I mean. Like, but this is the so these are obviously, as you can imagine, robots in Pieland. So they have like specific traits that you will only find on the Doughbots, like the robotic legs. The you know, that's only going to be on the Doughbots. And I mean, we have the Pyborgs as well, and there's some shared traits. But generally speaking, this look is quite unique to the Doughbots. You know, they have. Oh, I don't. Yeah, there you have this little. I don't know what it's. I mean, oh, it's because it's the video, isn't it? Yeah, so it's doing the transition.
Yeah.
They have like this little. I won't say what it's inspired by because I don't know if I can get in trouble with like a lawyer. But what's we've called the Crust Buster, which is, you know, it goes
Okay.
around the floor, it zooms around the floor, cleaning things up. I don't know if that's a copyrighted term. Is Roomba copyrighted? Maybe. But yeah, so it's like that's like their little companion, you know, to have a little bit of fun, which is really exciting.
Oh,
It's
I
probably my
love it.
favorite slice, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely resonate with these. Okay, I'm gonna put the okay.
Oh, this is the this is the Highlanders. So these are kind of like your fishermen of Pieland. And they're kind of similar to Pisons in the sense that they're both kind of quote unquote natural. You know, they're not part robot, they're not part vampire or anything like that. So there are some similarities there. But you know, these guys be out sailing, so you'll see them with a sailor's hat, the fishing rod. Again, they've got like a really badass companion that's kind of more unique to them. I like these. You know what? At first, I did like this slice, but the companions have made them my favorite. There's some really cute companions, like that little whale and stuff like that.
Oh
Shout out
man.
there we go for the whale community. Not whale, sorry. No, this one's the seal. The whale's in the background. I don't know if you'll see it. So this is the little, yeah,
Oh,
just there. Oh, it's so quick.
there it is.
Yeah, we got a little whale in the background. Oh, it's so funny seeing them like this.
I love
But
it.
yeah, yeah. See, this is the thing. Like to what Neo said, I hope I get a Pylander. Like I thought personally there was like 2 or 3 slices that were way better than the rest, and I was a little bit nervous to reveal them because I was like, no one's gonna like the Pylanders because that's not the best one. The Doughbots are the best one, and then everyone was like, wow, that's my favorite, or this is my favorite, or you know what I mean? And like it really helped me remember like the whole point of us doing the 9 different slices is that we do feel like there's something for everyone. Some people are going to relate to the Pylanders, some people are going to relate to the Zombies, whatever it is, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what really drew me in, honestly, because I saw all the different, and I think this is the experiments or
No, this is the Pyborgs.
Pyborgs. Okay.
But they do have, so it's interesting because they are like in the same part of the world as the Doughbots, so they share the same companions and similar traits, but they also have the brain trait that you can see right now, which the experiments have as well. So it's like this really interesting, like the crossover between them, you know.
Gotcha. That's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, so we have already sort of released some of the lore of the world as well. So the idea is that Doughbots, the Pyborgs that you see on the screen, are responsible for sort of managing the Doughbots, and we've not given out too much information, but we've kind of hinted that, you know, maybe they created them, or maybe they just have stolen them from someone else. Whatever, you know, more will come on that. But the idea is that they kind of use them to do their bidding as kind of like the mindless zombie army almost.
Oh man, yeah, and that's so again, that's the attention to detail is crazy. And I'm just going to throw this question up here: is there a companion for each pie? I don't think there is. I think some have companions or not, but I'll have you answer that question.
Yeah, so the companion works as like a trait, so it's there sometimes, it's not there always. It's a decent amount of the time, to be honest, because they are freaking awesome. So like, you know, there's a decent amount, and then each slice has 3 or so companions, and then some like share companions and whatnot. And so Not every octopi has one, but a lot of them certainly do. And like sometimes the companion is like, it's not like, you know, the rumba, it's not like a cute sheep, or sometimes it's like a bucket of fish because they're a fisherman. You know, the companion isn't necessarily always, oh, it's a cute little pet. But that's just to keep it interesting, to keep it unique and dynamic for sure.
I love it. And so here's my question, a little bit of a curveball. So during phase 2, the octopi personalization, do you think that maybe an achievement may unlock a pet or something?
Look at you trying to get this alpha. That's what I'm going to say. I don't like, yeah, okay, like, so we wanted to have it so there's like the potential for these, like, look, you know, like a lot of projects will airdrop like a companion NFT, and that's really cool. But I really like the idea of being able to airdrop a companion NFT that you could use with your NFT, and maybe that just happens in the kitchen in the personalization. Maybe it happens directly on the NFT. Like we have to wait to see on that. But I think either way is quite a fun thing to explore. You know.
Oh man, that's so cool. This is why I fell in love with this project at first sight. These are honestly one of my favorites because my birthday's on Halloween.
I love that. So these are the experiments. So yeah, these are sort of Frankenstein-esque inspired NFTs, and they, as you can see, they're kind of two pies put together. And this is kind of one of my favorites for that reason, that we could do more unique looks to them. And you can see like this is a completely different body that you won't see on the Doughbots, you won't see on the Pisons. So like they're super unique in that regard because they just only the experiments can have a body like this. But yeah, they're pretty cool, and I really like them. But then you see their headpiece here that was on the Pyborgs, and then you also see the arm that was on the Doughbots, because obviously the experiments would be made up from bits and pieces around the world. So like the very way these traits are put together and the art is built also plays into the lore of the world and vice versa.
Oh man, this is so great. I think this is the pirates. This is the pirates.
I like that you said, you started off saying you think, and I was like, the pirates are pretty obvious. So these are pretty cool. I think they're just, I like them because they look a bit more badass, to be honest. Like when you get them with the jacket. So these animations aren't going to show every trait or like the finalized versions either, because we wanted to make sure that it still felt like a surprise to a certain degree, you know, when you are sort of on mint day. But they get some pretty cool companions as well. Like they can get a parrot on one arm, and then they can also get like a cool little parrot, a cool little pelican on the floor and stuff like that, or even like a little seal as well. And I really like this background as well, because the idea of a Kraken-esque monster in a world of octopus pies is really interesting to think about, you know?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Is that a massive octopus pie? I don't know. Who knows?
It's so much fun, and you could tell from just you talking about it. There's a lot of enthusiasm, and I love it. It just it's really cool. I'm gonna put this back on the street here, and then so selfish question. I saw it in the stream a little bit, so I can't take credit for it. Do you personally like savory or sweet pies?
So like obviously we're mostly built for like a US North American audience. I feel like you guys mostly have sweet pies. It's quite different. But in the UK, where I'm from, it's mostly savory pies. You know, if you're a UK Australian, you know what I'm saying right now. It's all about having them meat pies, meat and cheese pies, you know, like a steak and kidney pie, that sort of thing. So I feel like I prefer savory, but I probably eat way more sweet because I'm based in Latin America.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I love savory pies. I like savory over sweet usually, but there are a few pies that I can't turn down. What is your favorite sweet pie?
Probably pumpkin. I don't know. I keep getting asked this, and I feel like I almost want to change every time, because it really feels like what have I not eaten in a while? And at the moment, that's pumpkin pie. I'm probably going to order a big pumpkin pie tomorrow, and then on Friday I'll be like, my favorite is key lime. That's what my favorite is now, because I've not had that in a while. Probably pumpkin pie. It just feels. I don't know. It's got the nostalgia vibe to it almost. It feels like holidays. A slice of pumpkin pie feels like a slice of holiday.
Absolutely. Yep. It definitely does. Okay, getting to some audience questions, so I don't want to hog this all myself. Let's see. We have a question from Nightmare. Any game theory mechanisms to drive the secondary value and the market movement after mint?
Yeah. So we'll be doing, from a game theory point of view, that's a really good question. I don't know if you would classify it as like true game theory, but we will be doing like competitions, which will play in like short term. They'll be quite kind of almost basic for anyone to do, but then they'll play into the leaderboards on a longer term as well. I don't want to talk too much in the specifics because obviously I don't want someone to be like, oh, well, I heard Luke on this stream to like a couple hundred people, so now I'm going to buy these and have this edge in the marketplace. But there will be like, a basic version might be we say, hey, anyone who owns 4 vampire octopies on this week, you guys can get this cool NFT airdrop that like is a part of the vampire lore, let's say. And it might be an NFT that gives you a bit more information about them, or it's a cool sort of concept art from the world they live in, that sort of thing. And it's not gonna be like change your life if you take part in them, but the idea is that there's a clear like, if you like that slice and you collect that slice, you can learn more about that slice, which is something I'm very excited about in the short term. On the longer term, like, we have a mapped out, to a degree, adventure for people that enter Pieland, but obviously it's also going to be dynamic and flexible as the community grows and develops. But we have some plans in that regard for sure.
Nice. Yeah, that makes
total sense. I was dodging laser beams with that answer, wasn't I? I was like, oh, I don't want to get in trouble with the
team. You don't want to release too much, but yeah, that definitely answers my question for sure. Those are all great ideas. And honestly, one of I'm not trying to, stress out or anything, but some of the hard part is actually keeping the community engaged, because we don't, when you actually release, it's fun. But afterwards, it's engagement that's the thing. And honestly, this isn't your first rodeo with these type of things, given where you what you've been involved in with NFTs. So yeah, I have no worry that the team will find ways. So honestly, pretty cool. Let's see. We have another question here. I think, let me see. Let's go with this one quick, and then we'll do this other one. So Nightmare again. What could be a pie companion? A drink, a filling, perhaps pineapple?
So we don't. The companions at the moment are much more like companions you'd expect from a sort of real world setup, right? Like the zombies might have a companion that's like a little worm or a rat, that sort of thing. The Pisons might have like a sheep and stuff like that. I love that message, Neo. I love that. But I think that in terms of like future potential where we give an airdrop or something, yeah, you might see some really cool things in that regard that are from a similar concept of, like you say, a drink, maybe another baked good, that sort of thing. But that's to come in the future. TBD on that.
Awesome. The question is what if the results after phase 1 didn't reach your expectations? And I think I know the answer to this already. Will you give up and leave the app without updates or even dead? That's a very serious question, but I think I know the answer. Go ahead.
No, I mean, definitely not. But even like, so you said after phase 1, that's like just it's a no-brainer for us, because phase 1 for us is like, we're doing that, like that's just stepping into the world, like we have to, if we don't, whatever happens tomorrow, if we don't sell out, if we it might take a few days, a few weeks to sell out, we're still going to build for phase 1, because like that's already started. So phase 1 is definitely happening no matter what. Oh shoot, sorry. Phase 2, we're super excited for. If phase 2 didn't work, we wouldn't stop. We would just step back. We would communicate with the community and be like, what is it direction do you want to go in? Because this is our plan for phase 3. This is what we started building towards. Let's pull back the curtain and show you. But if you guys are feeling like that's not working, then let's work together to adjust. Like for me, there's no world in which this isn't going to be a long-term thing. The things we've shown you so far, be it the quality of the art, the upgradable smart contract, the organic building of the community, focusing on like the members rather than the numbers, that's all building for the long term, rather than like, let's 100,000 people in a Discord, get hyped for a week, sell, and then we'll just see what happens. Like we're not interested in that. We're interested in building a universe, a world of Pieland. And I feel like it's impossible for any project to know how it's going to go, and we're not going to sit here and make these fake promises. It's also why we haven't put hard dates on each phase, because we just don't know. And like that's something that our team have brought to the table. Like they like our developers been in this developing in the sort of industry for 20-30 years, not just in crypto, I mean, but like in general development. So he's seen plenty of projects go up and down, so he knows that it's not about being overly arrogant to start with, it's about being upfront and honest. So to your question, if phase 1 or phase 2 isn't working, we just assess and we say, do we need to change phase 3? We don't say, do we stop it? We just say, what do we need to do different?
That's fantastic. That was a great answer to a tough question, and honestly, it's good to hear. To be quite honest, just getting serious for a second, because there's a lot of projects in the space. There's a lot of go lives happening, each and every day, and I think that what sets this project apart from others is your perspective on it, and so that is really good to hear. So yeah. I do see some some just, they're not really questions, but they're talking about pies that everyone likes. We have chicken and mushroom, shepherd's pie. They agree with you with the pumpkin for sure. All this kind of stuff. But going down to another question here from our friend Nightmare. What are some learnings, tools, methodologies you take from NBA Top Shot's experience and apply that to your approach with this project?
Great question. I mean, for me, like on a personal level, it comes down to like the community aspect. I'm fortunate that I've learned a lot of tricks and tips and skills around, building out a Discord for hundreds of thousands of people to use. And Top Shot is a very active, busy Discord, and that's definitely helped and taught me a lot. And I think that comes into play. For example, the Top Shot Discord was unfortunately targeted by hackers. We get targeted all the time, and unfortunately, one time they did manage to hack the Discord, but we shut it down within a minute because of things that I'd implemented. So like those sort of things now carry over to the Pieland Discord in the same sort of concept of like solid infrastructure and bots and setups that make sense and make the potential impact of an exploit minimized, which is a bit less exciting. That's a bit more depressing. Other things are just like, it's allowed me the ability to, meet some people in this space that really know their shit. Like Rude Moose. I've had the pleasure of working alongside Rude Moose, which means I've got to get her input on a lot of different NFT projects, which is really insightful. And I think stuff like that, it really helps as well. But also just experience of the ups and downs. I think I'm very blessed. The whole team, we're very blessed that we're launching an NFT project, having been in the ups and downs of a very busy and active project. So we kind of know what's coming around the corner. And to a degree, like you don't know what's coming. Nobody knows what's coming, but we know that we don't know what's coming. Whereas other projects can sometimes just focus on what's happening today and expect it to carry on. So we'll be making certain decisions with that in mind. With our finances, we're going to make sure we take some of it out of Ethereum, not because we don't believe in Ethereum, but because it's important that regardless of what happens in the streets of crypto, our project can continue to pay our employees, we continue to add value and continue to build. Whereas some other projects, they're like, stay on Ethereum, just hold Ethereum the whole time, and we'll just ride the crypto wave. But that's like very high variance, So we want to make sure that the variance of the space doesn't stop us from being able to build and develop. And that's something that I've learned by being in a space already, seeing that variance.
Yeah,
man, these are long answers. I'm sorry, mate. I'm just
no. These are fantastic answers, honestly. And for those of you who don't know, talk about trial by fire. If you've ever been to an early Top Shots drop in the Discord, that is your one way to figure out how to be a mod. Within those are some crazy times. It has gotten better and more streamlined a bit. And hands off. I know we've said it a few times, but Rude Moose, wow, she came in. It definitely helped out a lot, and her experience to any project is invaluable. But yeah, I mean that's trial by fire. So I love the answers, and honestly, I can't say enough. So another one, and then we'll pivot over to the drop because I really want to end with a little bit more details on that. But Iliscavia asked the question, given the plan for let me get my brain around this. Pieconomics?
Yeah.
Okay, I nailed it. What is what are some of the intended use cases for the eventual Pi token? Interesting.
It might be too much alpha for me to drop in this stream.
Yeah, don't if you can't. Don't if you can't.
Like, I love answering every question. You know how it is. It is going to be a case of building. Like, the thing is, as you might have noticed from my roadmap, we haven't said we're going to build a DAO. We said we're going to do community voting. We haven't said we're going to do, we're not going to do straight up a token. We said we're going to do Pieconomics. Now, the implications are quite clear, right? But we're aware that these things are way more complex to set up than a lot of projects seem to imply. Like, I've seen and you've definitely seen this, mate, projects that are like just announced, they're dropping in 2 weeks, and they're going to do a DAO, and they're going to do a token. And you're like, hold up, like, have you spoken to lawyers? Have you spoken to an accountant? Like, have you got an economist on the team? Like, that's what you need. And so we're not going to rush to bring out a DAO. We're not going to rush to bring out a token. We're going to do it the right way because we're doing it for long term. So that also means that in terms of the use cases, we don't want to talk about it too much because we want to wait and see what use cases actually make sense for us to commit to. We definitely have stuff in mind, but it from our point of view, it makes sense to do it the right way rather than this is flashy for right now. You know, I don't want people to buy into Pieland tomorrow because they're expecting a token that they're going to be able to spend in Disney World or something insane. Like, we're not going to make those promises. We're going to say we're going to build it and we're going to see, kind of thing.
No, that's a great way to handle it. And, you know, for those of you without experience, you're absolutely 100% right. You can't just promise something. You can't just throw it out there. I think that is a huge mistake for some of the projects, especially. And I'm going to sigh. And just because Rude Moose's advice, she was on one of our shows earlier, and she has said, just because you have a roadmap doesn't mean, that's where you're headed, right? And I think that is a very good answer. And, that's what we want to hear from a project is, look, we need to figure out what we're going to do. We got to get you said the right word. You got to get the legal right. And you got to make sure that you're doing it right before you start jumping into any promises, because honestly, that's one way the community can get really upset at you. So yeah, good perspective there for sure. 100%.
Yeah. And I think, and that's the thing, is like, we want that flexibility, because it sucks when you say we're going to do this and the community is like, after 3 months, it's like, oh, could you do that instead? And then we're like, well, we could, but then we're going against the roadmap, but that's what you guys want. So it's like, it's messy,
Absolutely. I'm just giggling here because you got a good question here. It's not for me, that's for sure. How long is your hair? It looks good. And do you use any hair serum or anything?
I don't know. I just not cut it for a while. I'm growing it out so I can like chop it off to donate it. So it's, with like the last year or two, I've just been growing it out. I don't really do anything with it, to be honest, mate. I just wash it with like shower gel. And I know there's a bunch of probably long-haired people right now. Like Rude Moose probably has just heard that and is like slapping her face. I just said I wash it with just like shower gel, like just like a teenage boy. I'm like, just use shower gel on it. Don't worry about it. But thank you. I appreciate that.
You know, a question I never get asked is, why is your bald head so shiny? I feel like that's something that nobody asks me. I don't know why. But no,
I'm disappointed.
I'm a little disappointed myself. That's for sure. So I've taken a ton of your time, and I really appreciate you coming on last minute. It's fantastic, and I think our community really, really loves this project, and I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow. I think it's going to go great. Tell us a little bit about the drop before we leave, because I want to make sure everyone knows what time it is, what to expect, and anything you want us to tell us before you go.
Yeah. So the public mint is happening at 3 p.m. tomorrow. We will have like a few hours before for the sort of pre-sale, which is limited to whitelist. Actually, for everyone listening, I'll get a code up, and then you guys can go to a Discord and claim the whitelist with that code. So we'll do that in a sec. But yeah, the public mint is happening at 3 p.m. and we're definitely going to have some left. We're not going to sell out in the whitelist. We're like intentionally planning that. We have already sold obviously a few thousand via the pre-order, so there won't be a full 10,314 available. It'll be a bit less than that, probably about I don't know. It depends how many sell on the whitelist. They will cost 0.088 ETH, Octopi, like we had to do the 8.8. And yeah, you'll be able to mint up to 10 per transaction, I believe. I'm gonna have to double check with the dev, but I think that's how it will be. And yeah, we're super excited by it. I would say if anyone's interested, just like check out the site, jump into Discord, ask us questions. Like definitely, do your own research. We're not here to say buy this project because we think you have to buy it. We're here to say if this project appeals to you, if this what we're trying to build and what the community vibe is like at the moment makes sense to you, come check it out. We're going to have some cool stuff happening. There'll be some prizes for people that mint tomorrow. But we'll announce more of that tomorrow on the Discord. So yeah, it's going to be very fun for sure. We've got a few like cool elements. So one of them is we've got like a bunch of 1-of-1s, and within that we've actually got 12 Zodiac inspired Octopies. We've already shown one of them, the Tiger one, for the Year of the Tiger. But the other 11 are going to be in like these closed red envelopes, and like you could mint one of them tomorrow. You could just mint one of these red envelopes, and at the start of each month for the next 11 months, we'll be like randomly revealing what one of these red envelopes are. And I'm really excited by this because they're very unique 1-of-1s in this Zodiac 12 style. And like you might want to try and get like the monkey one, or you might want to try and get like the snake one or whatever it is. And you might be trying to collect the red envelopes to see what you get. And it's just like fun little games within the minting process of you will get these extra cool things, So anyway, getting on tangent. So tomorrow, 3 p.m., make sure you go to the Pieland.io site. You'll see it on our Discord and on our Twitter. And right now, if you go to, I don't know if you want to put this on screen, but if you go to the Pieland Discord and you type like period, and then just whale shark with like no spaces, you can get instant access to the whitelist. We'll give you, you get on the whitelist, and then you can do the next steps to add your wallet to the whitelist.
Oh, that's awesome.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
Whale shark.
That makes total sense. I am going to type .whale shark in the chat for people. So .whale shark. And for those watching on, so we're broadcasting over everything. We got YouTube going. We have Twitch. We have Twitter. Everything we could possibly. And I'm going to put it in the chat here. So here we go. Boop. Okay. So there's a Discord link for everybody. And then as you heard, .whale shark will get you on that. So you got to go into the Discord. Pieland Discord, okay, and then you type .whale shark, and I think you're going to want to do that in the general chat. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or you
could do it in like any channel, but general's fine. And if it just instantly deletes, then you've done it right.
Perfect. Okay. So you heard that right. Any channel you could go in and type in, and it's going to delete. And if it did it right, you're going to be in there. Okay, I'm watching the Discord right now. I'm going to put it on stream. Boop. There it is. Yeah. I just saw one. disappear.
Yeah, there we
go. Look at that. I'm pretty sure I'm already on it, but see?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's cool. It'll just give you a cool little Welsh shark. And also, if you scroll down to the giveaways channel,
yes.
Just left there. We've just kicked off a giveaway for some whale as well. 31.4 whale. And we'll probably do another one later as well. So if you're in the Discord, you don't have to do anything. You just click the button, and there you go. You can enter the giveaway.
Look at that. Don't click this guy. Click this guy. This is the one I'm really excited about. Man, that is so cool. So I hope I win that. So I just got to beat out 1,233 people. Okay. 34. All right. My chances are good. Oh, again, thank you so much for coming on. The community is so excited. I know I see a lot of people in general chat right now typing away, doing their thing. So I'm very excited about the project. I will be there tomorrow. You said the time, but it's 3:00. So is that Eastern, Pacific?
There's a very easy way to remember it. Okay. It's PST, which is Pi Standard Time.
Pi Standard Time, perfect.
Yeah, you might call it Pacific, but that's not right. It's actually Pi Standard Time.
Absolutely.
So yeah, 3:00 PST, 6:00 Eastern. We've got, we'll have it on Discord. We'll be pinging. I know it's like a little bit later. I feel like a lot of projects at the moment, the trend is do it in the morning, but it just made sense for what we're trying to do a little bit later. So yeah, very excited for it. The pre-sale will start a couple hours earlier. Again, if you have the whitelist role, we'll be tagging people. Just make sure you fill in the form. So by the end of the day today submit your address.
Awesome. Yeah, I am. I have a Google Calendar invite for when this thing starts, so I will be ready at. I am dumb. I just typed the wrong thing. I will be ready at 6 o'clock Eastern time. And that would be 3 o'clock Pi Standard Time. Okay, I am set. I got it in my head. I'm ready. And yeah, thanks again for coming. And everybody, I hope you're excited because you got to give us like a pie thing at the end here. I can't think of anything. What's like a pie goodbye?
Good pie. We do a lot of just good pies, or I've got a problem with my phone is autocorrecting words to the spelling with pie in them, like happy to be here, good pie, I appreciate you, all those sort of things. I'm just gonna say thank you, well community. Bye you later. There we go. Bye you later. That's gonna be my sign off. Thank you everyone. If you have any questions, my DMs are open. DC, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to chat to you. We've been chatting a little bit the other day in Discord, but still, it's always a pleasure to see you again, mate. And everyone else, thank you. It's been awesome. I'll pie you later.
All right, pie y'all later. And I like this one from Subspace. Bye bye, Miss American Pie. So there we go.
Nice. Nice.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow. And yeah, bye everybody.